If you've got a business, maybe you're an early level entrepreneur and you're finding yourself limited in your current role, well, the solution to that is frankly delegation. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking to my guest, Bob Bliss, about how to delegate, how to identify key talent, and how to really expand yourself beyond just kind of that limited role where you're stuck doing everything in the business so that you can develop the business by working on the business. So Bob, you've been involved in a lot of small businesses and businesses that have done succession planning. Why is it that even small-time entrepreneurs all the way up to, the big CEOs, why do they need to focus on delegation?
Oh my gosh. I think that's one of the most important things a CEO has to do. Without delegation, number one, it tells me that they're afraid. They're afraid that, number one, they might lose their job to the person they're delegating the material to.
Well, real quick, do you think that operating from a position of fear is kind of what you should be doing in any job?
No, not fear. No, but I think I've had experience with a number of companies that I've owned that the first thing I do on day one is I begin a process for delegation. I identify if I've got, in one case I had 3 vice presidents in the company. And when I was out of town, I would select one of them to take over my office for the time I was gone. And they had to make all the decisions. They had to answer all the emails, they had to answer the phone, respond to phone calls. And when I came back, I wanted to see what they had done.
Wait a minute. While you were gone, what if they messed up? Weren't you on call, able to answer all their questions and help them out?
If it was an emergency, if the place was on fire, yes. But other than that, no. I do not want them to call me. And when I come back, they're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. You'll learn by mistakes. And I definitely don't climb all over them, but I compliment them on what they did that was right. And then they'll have another opportunity.
Well, that brings up a really good point. How do you think the best way, because obviously if you delegate to somebody and you give them the opportunity, they're not going to do a perfect job. They're not going to do it as well as you. How do you give feedback in a way that doesn't diminish them or make them feel put down? It's like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm getting yelled at every time.
No, well, first of all, I don't yell at them. And that's very, very key, because if you do, then they don't want to do it. And they may even look for another job somewhere. And you've already got them in a vice president's position, so you want to keep them. And if you hired smart, you want to keep them. And to do that, then I think you've got to compliment them on the right things they do and show how they might. For example, if they happen to make a minor mistake on a bid on a product, and it might have cost me $400 or $500, okay, you made a mistake, but no big deal. You're not going to lose your job because of it. You're going to learn because of it, and we're going to have another opportunity.
Do you want to encourage people to think outside the box, to try things their own way, that type of thing?
I like to think outside the box a lot because I like ideas. I think with any company, again, that I've had and others that I've worked with, I encourage feedback from at all levels of the company. Because you find out most of the time. I found out more when I started taking coffee and donuts to mechanics at 7 o'clock in the morning. I found out more about what the company should be doing than anywhere else. So you want feedback. Now, do you use it 100%? No. But when you do use a change in plan or a change in procedure that originated with one of your employees, you praise them to death. I mean, you just give them all the credit for it. You don't stand up there and say, as president, I did. No. Today we have something new going, and Fred in the engine department came up with the idea, and he's to be congratulated. And usually I have a photograph taken with Fred with a little certificate.
And then maybe Fred will continue to give you other good ideas, right?
Yeah. And then he's mad when I turn him down on one. But I said, hey, you can't tell him all right. But no, it's that has to do, to me, that has to do with communication with everybody. I tried in my careers, I tried never to have a surprise sprung on the employees. In employee meetings and in staff meetings, I would always let them know what my goals were and my reasons were for doing what we're going to do. and they'd have questions. They'd disagree with me, and I said, that's fine too. We'll just fine-tune it then to bring your ideas into it.
Hey, sorry to interrupt Bob here for just a quick second, but if you are looking to get more attention on your business so that you can grow your brand and, ultimately generate more revenue, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions with getting attention here on modern digital platforms. Just give me a call, shoot me a text at 304-853-5522, and I will be happy to help you out with that. Now, back to Bob. Well, so kind of stepping back a little bit, what about, I see this a lot with entrepreneurs. They're afraid, or they'll say something along the lines of, well, I can't trust so-and-so to do this. He doesn't do it as well as I do. Or I can't, as soon as I'm off the job site, doing something else, they're just not getting it done. I've got to be there all the time. I've got to be the one doing it. It's me, 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 me. Can you talk to that a little bit?
No, but their major problem is going to be employee turnover. I can tell you that right off the bat.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. Handing off. I'm going to be very personal now. I have a wife that works in a shop in Charleston, and my wife is very, very good at what she does in her job, and she cannot delegate anything for the very reason you just said. Well, they can't do it as good as I can. Well, they never will unless you give them a chance to try.
Yeah.
But on the corporate level, when you get in the corporate level, if you have a CEO or a president of the company, and they're kind of hesitant to delegate, what irritates me the most is what they do next. They have a key decision that has to be made in the company that's going to have a major impact on the company, and they say, gosh, I don't know if I can do that. Well, might hurt the company, and they end up say, well, I'm going to form a committee.
Oh, so committee's even worse than me, because then you're distributing the responsibility amongst people that they don't really care as much as you do, right?
They really don't care as much. They get their money for being on the board, but other than that,
which is a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah, it's not bad. But when you get that, when a CEO does that, when he forms a committee to solve a major decision, it's a win-win for him or her.
Yeah.
Because if the committee decides in the long run that they're going to do what I thought as president, then it's my fault because I hired the committee. Or if they turn it down and they're not going to do it and it fails badly, it's not my fault. The committee did it. So it's a win-win for them, but it's also telling me that they're abdicating their responsibility as a leader.
That was always one of my favorite. Sayings or slogans or whatever. But the buck stops here. That's important, right?
Sure, it is. It is, and it does. But that doesn't mean that you can't get other people involved.
Yeah. So how would you recommend, I know you mentioned that with one of your previous companies you had 3 employees, and you would kind of cycle through them to give everybody a little bit of a chance and see who might be the superstar. But what if you were to dial that down a little bit, maybe you run a small construction company or something like that, and you don't have a foreman or anything, but maybe you got 2 or 3 guys working under you. How would you recommend somebody like that start developing a foreman, somebody that can actually get things done without you being there physically?
Well, number one, I think I would find out a lot more about that person, other than what they're doing on the job.
That's very interesting. So dive into that a little bit, because I think a lot of people kind of think of business owners, ones that I talk to, it's kind of funny. They kind of think of they have an employee, they pay him a paycheck, and by God, they should do what I tell them to do because I paid them to do it, and that's as far as they think about it.
Again, you're going to have employee turnover with that.
Yeah,
that's not a good way to go. Now, I would in that kind of a situation, and I've had a couple of them. In that kind of situation, you just have to be very careful because you don't want to get someone in over their head in responsibility. That's a killer too.
Yeah.
So you do it in doing the steps, and the steps may be taking a minor job that you think this person might be. Would you be interested in helping me? And it's helping me. But would you help me in this? And if they say yes, then fine. That's good news.
Yeah.
And you give them one. And if they do it well, wait a month or two and say, hey, I got something else coming up. Can you help me on this? And you walk them into it. You can't just come in and say, I want you to handle everything when I'm going. Well, no, can't do that.
That's not going to work.
You got to walk them into it.
Yeah. Bob, that is all really good practical advice, super helpful in building and developing a business and an environment where you can delegate and take advantage of being able to use other employees, expand your business. Now, outside of being a podcast guest of mine, though, you also do speaking gigs, and you also work as a consultant for businesses like that. Could you tell everybody how to get a hold of you if they want to learn more?
Oh, sure. The easiest way is just to give me a call, 304-546-8827. Email or text. Email address is bbliss808@gmail.com.
Great. And you got a website too, right?
I have a website. Very easy. It's bobblissassociates.com.
Perfect. All right, Bob. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is Joe Justice of the Kanawha Valley Hustler reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.